Hey friends, I just want to jump on here real quick and show you what I'm doing in between bags. I'm sewing a king size quilt for my bed. I'm a beginner quilter. I've done a couple. I've never done a king size. I've done baby quilts. I've done a lap quilt. And I've never done anything that you really had to match the points. Well, one morning, early, obviously too early, I was watching YouTube and Missouri Star Quilt Company, and Jenny Doan got on there and said and showed the Confetti Star. Let me show you the package. Confetti Star quilt and how you do it. I thought, I can do that. Oh, well, I was thinking that morning. It was obviously early. So anyways, I jumped in there, bought all the supplies, and I'm just now starting it. For a king size quilt, you're going to need 100 8-inch squares. 100. And I've only got 44, I think 44 done. So I got a little ways to go, and that's just for the front. For the back of it, what I did is I went to a thrift store. In fact, I got this shirt at a thrift store. A little t-shirt, one of my favorite colors. Anyway, I found some king size quilts, sheets. And they're navy blue, and there was 3 of them. They were like $3.99 a piece, flat sheets. And so I'm going to use the king size quilt for the backing of my king size quilt. So let me show you what I'm doing. It's crazy. So I had to cut out all these pieces, and you know me, I do not like cutting out all these pieces. I like the sewing. So I have 6 stacks of different shapes. Like I have diamonds, 2 of these, and then I got the white diamonds, actually 1 of each, and then I got the trapezoids. I think these are called trapezoids. And then I have larger triangles, and you got to piece them all together. And you do a light block, what they call a light block, and there's the light block when it's got mostly white in it, or a lighter color. I'm doing navy and white mainly. And then you have your dark block. Let me find one I like. Now, my points are not perfect, but I'm not stressing that because this is my first one, so you could call me a beginner quilter. But here's one where my points came out pretty good. But this is the dark block. And so let me show you how I'm doing it and how I think I'm doing it the way Jenny did it. So let me pull you over here and so I can show you my sewing machine. So what you do is you get the trapezoids, and you either, if you want to do a dark block, you pick the dark ones out. And here's my dark trapezoids. I hope I'm calling that shape right. So I'm going to pick out some floral ones. I love the floral ones. So I'm going to put, this is kind of different. It's got a dark flower white background and a light black background, and then I got a dark background and light. So I'm going to put those together. So you bring those and you put those together, and since I'm doing the dark square, I'm going to do white triangles. Not triangles, diamonds. I think I need to go back to school and learn my shapes. So I'm just picking out any 4 random. They do all have a little, I don't know if you can see that, a little background, different patterns on there. So I'm just picking 4 random. I think I picked those last time. Let me pick these. Not that you can really see it. And so you match them up. Let me see if I can pull you up here. Whoops. So you match them up. And then I'm going to turn this one over and sew that there, and this one on this one, that there, and the same thing on those. Did I show you that? I can't tell if you can see that. Let me push it back up here. What I started using, because you know I'm a beginner sewer, is I bought this little tool. Let me do it backwards. And it helps you round off your triangles or your diamonds when you're, or triangles, when you're matching up your, let me show you. So I put this diamond over the trapezoid, and you're going to have a little bit of hangover of your little points. And so this gets rid of the points and helps you to be able to line up your two pieces together. I was very nervous about this in the beginning, so I used this quite a bit, and then I freed myself and said, let's just go for it. So that is what I did. So what you're going to do is you're going to line these up. I'm doing, of course, a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm doing a 2.5 stitch length. You don't back stitch because you're going to quilt this, and I'm going to chain stitch these two. And I'm just kind of eyeballing the points, like a 1/4 inch on each end, lining up that. I'm just hoping it all comes out in the square when I have to square them off. So then you clip these and you do the other end. I'm not going to iron them yet. So when you sew them together, you're going to sew the long part of the trapezoid together like that. So that's how you line them up and keep them. I keep them lined up so I'll know what side I'm supposed to sew together. Like I just fold this over and I sew it. Let me see if I can move y'all closer. I just might have to move you when I get my pieces to sew. Is that better? Let me back you up just a tad. There, that might be better. So again, a 1/4 inch seam. Boy, once you get into this, it's just like you get the hang of it and you just roll with it. It's mindless. In the beginning, I was freaking out, panicking. I shouldn't say freaking out. I was so afraid I was going to make a mistake. But I've come to the conclusion, since I'm a beginner, I am not going to panic. And I'm going to match it up the best I can. So now you take this and you open these up and you iron them. So let me take them to the iron. Pull y'all up. Not that y'all need to see me iron. But I do this on top and I do it that way, and then I turn it over and I'm setting the seams. Now, Jenny, whom I adore, I love, after doing this, I'm just, you quilters are amazing. I'm just saying, amazing. I've done patchwork, that's easy, but doing something like this with all the cutting and then having to match them up the points. So what she says is she doesn't worry about which way is ironed usually, because there's supposed to be a proper way to iron. But she says there's not like someone's going to tear your quilt apart and say, you did not iron those seams correctly. And I'm definitely not going to a quilt show and not that I even would make the entry and showing my quilt. This is for me. So we're going to come along here, just make sure your edges are matched up. And sew on down. This is where you want to be careful and make sure that's why I put a clip there, to make sure that seams are matched up, because that's where your point, where they can see if it matches up or not. So let's iron it and see how good I did, or how bad I did. You never know. Yeah, it's not too good. I hope the quilt police don't come and get me. The points didn't match up too good. I'm going to trim the little points off there. Now when you use this thing, you won't have these points. But they are there. And so I'm going to trim them off. trash using my fabric scissors. Now, since I'm doing a dark square block, because I got the dark trapezoids I started with, I need dark on the outer. So the outer dark ones are larger triangles. And I want to do a color that matches. That's kind of floral. I don't want to do exact, but this has got flowers on it. So I'm going to do those too. So what I do is I fold this over and match up these corners right here. And I fold it and I just finger press it. Then I turn it over and do on the same on the other one. I cannot wait to finish this. I love quilts. I'm just not a good quilt maker. I love doing bags. Now I don't mind doing patchwork. I got plenty of scraps. I can just patchwork. And then I take the triangle and I fold it in half and get it creased. And put it up, match it up with that crease. I can do patchwork where it's kind of mindless, unless you want to cut out all those squares first, which I started doing on some of them, but some of them you can just quilt as you go, and I like that. So now we're going to match up our center points. You can put a clip there if you want. I was putting 3 clips on there, but I'm not doing that now. I'm living on the edge. So I did that one. Now we're going to do the other side. You don't, you know how in purses and bag making, I don't see that crease. I got to make that crease again. In bag making, you can clip the center points. You don't want to do that with quilting. Either iron it or make a mark with an erasable pen. And then just sew on down, all straight stitching. Also, there's several quilt people I watch. Missouri Star Quilt, Jordan Fabrics. I love watching her. Now in my machine and in my bobbin, I have quilting thread, but it's for hand quilting. I was out of machine quilting, so I'm rolling with it. So far it's working. So let me iron these. Okay, there's the dark block. Can y'all see that? Let me back you up a little bit. There's the dark block. And so now I'm going to do a light block. You do basically the same. I do want to share with you what I saw another person that's a quilter. Well, she does a lot of everything. I may have to put you down, or I'll just carry you with me so I don't have to put you down. Don't look at my messy room. I did straighten it a little. Now that corner over there is always messy with my books and stuff. But let me get over here. There's a quilt I made right there. And I quilted it myself. Don't look closely. I know I'm shaking y'all around. Okay. It's always an adventure with me, right? So I did watch another lady, Crafty Gemini, and she, that doesn't look right. Let me get you over here. She recommended that you do, there's a, what do they call it, a slider sheet. So when you're actually quilting and doing all the different kind of things to quilt your quilt, that's the real quilting when you're doing all the different designs. But she suggested, instead of buying the slider, which costs anywhere, I think it's $59, depending on your size you get. I think it's either $39 to $59 to $69, even more. She suggested you get from Amazon Teflon sheets, and you just tape it down over your machine. So when I go to quilt it, I'm going to tape, let me unroll this down over my machine. I'm going to put a hole in one of them. You get two of them when you order them. Put a hole in it just like the slider, and it just makes, when you're moving your quilt to quilt, it makes it easier. I thought that was a good idea and very inexpensive. You know me, I'm all about saving money. I mean, you know, I got a thrift shirt on. Okay, so let's do a light block. So I'm going to pull out 2 white trapezoids. You always start with the trapezoids for your block. Let's see. What do we want to do? Not that anybody's going to see this. I do like these little flowers. And I may do 2 of them so they'll stand out. You can barely see the design on this white. So I put my 2 trapezoids in the center. Remember, we stitched this, the longer side of the trapezoid, together. I'm trying to get a perfect spot for you guys. I don't think I like that spot. Let me make it a little bit taller. That's what I'll do. Let me make my tripod a little taller, and maybe that'll be better. Sorry about all the shakes. Back you up a little bit. Oh, that's better, I think. Still can't see down there. Let me see if I can move you. And then I have to move this. Yeah, I think that's better. Okay, so I got my 2 trapezoids, and that's for my center and for the light block. And then I'm going to get 2 dark or 4 dark diamonds. They're all getting mixed up here. So I did flowers last time. I think I'm going to do these this time. It's a little flower. And I do these at the opposite end. And so you just match them up here, lay them out. I highly suggest you lay out the block. I'm not laying out the diamonds because I know how the diamonds go. I don't want those 2 together, so I'm going to switch it around here like that. And let's find 2 more. We'll do that one there and then that one there. Okay, so now I'm going to lay this one over. Let me show you how this thing works. So I would take this and I would lay it and make sure this lined up and move it down as far as possible with my edges lined up on each end towards the point, and then you would cut here and here, and it would round it off to make it easier to match up. But I'm eyeballing it now. What it does is it squares off, gives you a line to match up on the even line here. And once you get the hang of all this, not that I got the hang of it, I'm just saying I feel more comfortable not having to use it, because that's a lot of cutting. I mean, I already cut out all these pieces. Who wants to cut any more? You know, let's just get sewing. Get her done. Then I'm going to match up this with my little hangover point and sew down. Now we iron. I keep the iron on. No, I'm not going to iron yet. I'm going to wait till I get the others and then I iron. So I turn it back to where it was so I can make sure I match up my trapezoid and my diamond correctly. And then you just sew down. Straight line, 1/4 inch seam allowance. I will tell you this, my machine has a line that says it's 1/4 inch, but when I used it to match up to sew on this, and my points never matched up, period. So when I moved it to the edge of my foot, it matched up better. So maybe it's a scant 1/4 inch you're supposed to do. I don't know. I just know it works better. So now I'm going to iron this. It's always nice to mix up instead of just sew one thing all the time. Then you get bored. And you know, we never, sewers are kind of like hairdressers or doctors and nurses. We never, you know, get to do things for ourselves. Hardly ever. We're always doing something, especially if we're selling your items. So I'm going to match up these points, or the seams, not points, the seams. And I put a clip here because I'm not good about this. But I've stopped stressing over it. I just put 2 clips at the seam. Let's sew on down. Okay, let's iron and see how we did. Make sure you pull your seams all the way out because they'll match up better then. This one's okay. Let me see the other end. Oh, the other end matched up pretty good. And I iron the back of it. So, oops, I ran over my mic. So this point matched up pretty well. This point did not. Oh well. So you want to pull it apart. If I just pull it all the way apart, it looks like it matched up. So maybe I need to pull it harder. Nah. And so now we got that. So now we put the triangles on. So now we're doing the lighter on the inside. So we're going to do lighter triangles. And since mine are white, it's all white. But whatever fabric you use. My colors in my room, my bedroom, are going to be navy and white. We just painted our room, our master bedroom, white. It was this dull cream color, and I don't like dull. I love bright and light. It's depressing. Don't want to sit in there. And we rearrange the furniture, and we have an antique dresser, and we're going to paint it a pretty navy color. It was his grandmother's dresser, my husband's grandmother's dresser, and he's going to paint it. I was like, no, years before I was like, no, but and I'm like, yes, it needs something. Paint it. So we're going to crease it. Remember, we creased the triangles, and now we're going to fold this over and crease the centers. We crease the center of the triangle. Now we're going to finger press and crease the center of this. Hopefully I will finish this before the end of the year. Oh mercy. I'm really trying to work on it a lot. Okay, straight stitch. You can put a clip in the center if you want to hold it together and make it stay centered. These twin sisters created this pattern. Who are they called? Material Girlfriends, but they're twins. They're 2 twins. And Jenny saw them at a quilt show demonstrate this, and she loved it. So she did it on her little YouTube channel. I say little, she's got millions of subscribers, but I love watching this lady. I think it's called My Sewing Room, or is it My Sewing Channel? Sweet little voice, brown hair, and she does a lot of patchwork, which I love the old patchwork quilts. Let me iron this. I just love the patchwork quilts. My grandmother, my dad's mom, could do anything. She could sew, she could knit, she could cross stitch, she could play the piano, she taught piano, she taught the organ. In her 80s, when she was in her 80s, she took a handwriting course, which her handwriting was already beautiful. And then she also took a china painting course and started china painting. She was amazing. So there's the light block. So that is how you do the Confetti Star quilt. You can, my points, this one matched up, this one did not. But we're not going to sweat it because this is my first quilt like this one. So anyways, that's what I'm working on. I'd love to hear what you're working on. Put down the comments. And I also have a Facebook page, Renee Perry, not J Renee, but there's a J Renee. Just Renee Perry. And I'll remember to put a link down in the description box. And I'll put a link to the Confetti Star quilt pattern. And I'm also on Instagram under Sweet Southern Mess Georgia. Sweet Southern Mess Georgia. GA for the abbreviation. And you can find me on there, and I post things that I make and different little things. But anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Get to sewing. Take a risk. Just do it.